Last time on Sailing Garuda.
1 out of 10, it was negative 25.
Not fun.
Well, all in all, Spanish Wells is a quaint little town. I tell you what, this is wonderful. Are you the queen? In the queen's bath?
This week, we attempt to drive a car again. Explore the celebrity hangout of Harbour Island. And cross the Eleuthera Sound for the exhumants. Oh, and I also attempt the most frustrating equipment installed to date.
It's just so frustrating.
I'm Herb, and this is Heather. We're post-career empty nesters who found the next phase of our lives lacking. Inspired by other YouTubers, we bought a small fixer-upper sailboat and spent 2 years building her into our traveling home. Now we're about to find out if it was all worthwhile. Subscribe and come along on our next adventure as we set sails to rediscover what's really necessary to live a meaningful life.
Wind into myself, away from things I let go, floating on the waves. We go bottoms up, we go all the way. When you're feeling down, push the pain away. We go bottoms up.
Slowly moving down the coast. Since we last saw you, we've moved a bit further south. We're headed for a dock at French Leave Resort to top off on water, fuel, and power, and an excursion or two. We spent some time tacking back and forth, but now we're kind of just on course.
Crackers.
What's up? Okay.
It's the simple things in life, like cheese and crackers. Fish on the line! We think. Oh no, did we lose it?
Still got it? Yeah. All right.
Don't be a barracuda. Don't be a barracuda. You got the net, Herb, or the gaff, or what do we need? Oh! Is it a wahoo, maybe? Oh. Son of a... Where are we going? Governor's Harbor.
Yes, we're off the boat. We have a rent car. We're driving north up the island to catch places that we couldn't see because of all the winds clocking around. So anyway, a little bit of a sketchy adventure. All right, part of what makes this sketchy is I'm driving on the the opposite side of the car, which changes the whole sight picture. I'll turn it around here in just a second, but I'm also on the opposite side of the road. So that makes this adventure pretty, you have to stay alert. And then the rent car guy gave me these warnings about potholes on like the side of the road that can just totally wreck your car. I think I'm more scared of hitting a pothole than I am hitting oncoming traffic. This is kind of a basic sandwich, but I'm really hooked on it. Egg, cheese, some seasoning, and then the obligatory lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. Great bread.
American cheese though, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's good. We've had them a couple places now. This is kind of becoming a staple. I think I could definitely work these in.
And on top of that, it comes in wax paper.
Mm-hmm.
Don't see that good.
Rainy day. Dry place to sit. Good sandwich, warm coffee. All you need.
The drive ended at the water taxi terminal, where we boarded a motorboat and crossed the bay. Harbour Island sits less than 2 miles off the northeastern tip of Eleuthera. It's a small place, less than 4 miles long, but it's a rather big task to get here. A note on the marine chart reads, "Do not attempt passage through the Devil's Backbone, one of the most notoriously nasty stretches in the Bahamas, without the services of an experienced local pilot, especially if it's your first visit here." That sounded sketchy to me, and frankly, we've maxed out on sketchy lately, hence the water taxi. The only town on the island is Dunmore Town, named after a colonial governor, Lord Dunmore. Remember him from our Nassau episode? Well, he had his summer home here in the late 1700s. Harbour Island, shortened simply to Bri'Land by locals, remains a quaint seaside English colonial town. But the big draw here is a 3-mile swanky resort-lined pink sand beach, consistently ranked as one of the top 10 beaches of the world. It regularly draws the rich and famous to its shore, and it's rather popular with the Hollywood set. Pink Sand Beach. Travel and Leisure magazine even named it the best island in the Caribbean in 2021. So our expectations were pretty high. And we get it, it's not exactly us. And to be fair, I doubt we're in their target market. But still, Dunmore Town remains a must-see spot in the Bahamas.
Well, how is it?
You're the one that looks really annoyed.
So we're editing this part of the video and we're realizing how unhappy we look. And we feel like we ought to tell you the story. So let me just tell you that I really know my wife. I picked the absolute perfect restaurant while we were in Harbour Island. It is a pizzeria that had an ice cream cone line in it. Like, it could not have been a more appropriate place for you to go eat lunch.
And it was cheap, which I was happy about.
So here's the thing, though. I wasn't in the mood for pizza, but they had quesadillas on the menu, which we've not seen anywhere in the Bahamas, and maybe for good reason now. But in any case, I ordered a vegetable quesadilla. And you wanted?
I just wanted a plain cheese quesadilla. And the lady told me that
they've never made one of those before.
that they could try, but they'd never done it before.
So Heather told her, well, she was trying to say, just charge me for a vegetable quesadilla, just don't put any vegetables on it. And she was even more confused with the whole thing. Oh, the other was, I asked, like, well, what kind of vegetables? And she said all of them. All right, so in fairness, I should have put this together, right? We're at a pizzeria. If you say you want vegetables at a pizzeria, what do you think it would be? So there was mushrooms, black olives, bell pepper, onion, and banana pepper, I think. And it was grilled and then put in a tortilla with no cheese.
On your quesadilla.
The no quesadilla. So when Heather asked for a vegetable quesadilla with no vegetables, it's just a $16 tortilla. But the lady said she would try to make it with cheese.
And it did come out with cheese. A lot of mozzarella cheese.
It took 30 minutes, but we eventually got
I should have just ordered the ice cream.
With no cheese.
It's okay.
No. Well, what'd you think about the island?
Oh, very pretty. Very colorful.
Yeah, it's pretty quaint. I mean, it's kind of what I was expecting. I was saying I thought there'd be more boutiques and shopping and that kind of thing, but yeah, but it's nice.
Yeah. Lots of little cottages. The beach is really busy.
That's the draw.
Was that what you expected, Heather?
Kind of. Parts of it are.
I think you come here for the beach.
Back across the bay and in the rent car, we made a few roadside stops. One to the Hatchet Bay Cave. Clearly in her element, Heather went much further in the cave than we did. But Mark and I redeemed ourselves at the next stop. Yep, another grocery store. Before returning the rent car and joining some friends for a Friday night Governor's Harbor community fish fry.
You gotta look my way. Damn YouTubers.
All right.
How is it?
Mac and cheese, great.
Yeah?
Never had.
And what, chicken?
What's that?
Barbecue chicken?
Chicken?
Well, today's project is an ongoing project, and I'll tell you what I'm trying to accomplish. It's satellite communication. So we're big fans of Starlink. Just get that out of the way right from the beginning. But Starlink allows us, internet connectivity and lets us stream Netflix and things like that. It's not exactly a piece of safety equipment. It wasn't designed as a piece of safety equipment, and I don't think I should be relying on it as a piece of safety equipment. Let me say from the beginning that we don't have in-motion Starlink. That wasn't available at the time. That's a brand new service that's just come out. And while we might look into that, that's not today's topic. What is today's topic is satellite communications, or a satellite phone. So the way that we've decided to do this is to go with an Iridium Go unit. The latest and greatest and newest product that has come from Iridium is the Iridium Go Exec. This thing is huge. Just by design and looking at this, it is very clearly a weatherproof outdoor piece of equipment. It's sealed. It's got very thick rubber plugs that come over all of its jacks. And if you read the if you read the instruction book, it explains that in order to have solid communications, it has to have a clear view of the sky. So what we're going to do is fire up the Iridium Go to show how this works. It has an on button, but you can just open the antenna. And it says it's loading. I'm just going to set it right here outside so that it definitely has a clear view, because I'm sitting here in the companionway. All right, that's configuring the SOS. Stay 20 centimeters away from the device to avoid radiation. Well, that's always a good tip. All right, so there we go. It is currently on and connected. This is a touchscreen that allows you access to anything that you would like to be able to see. We can go back and forth from the home, and it has a dial pad. This has two lines to it, line 1 and line 2. This is a speakerphone as well, but it is primarily designed to be used through the app. And the Iridium Go app is actually pretty intuitive. It's the same screen that you're looking at on the unit itself. So you can activate a dial pad, you can open an internet connection. It's actually pretty simple to use. Here's the advantage, of course, to that is it's turning my phone into a satellite phone, which means I can use all of my existing contacts and all the information I have in my phone should I have an emergency or want to utilize that service. Now, we've already tested this, so we've made phone calls on it. We have sent text messages on it, and we've downloaded GRIB files. So we understand that the that network is working. I will tell you it's not the fastest of networks, but it does give you connectivity. So this is like 1990s technology that was developed by Motorola that just didn't work out and now has kind of been repurposed. And you know, what we have is kind of an old platform. They are putting up new satellites evidently as well, but it's an old platform with a new product or new technology on it that is supposed to allow greater connectivity, such as Facebook messaging and some other things. Those things are kind of secondary to me. What I really want is to have communication capabilities, and we've proven the Iridium Go will work for that. The second product, however, that I bought from PredictWind is a DataHub. And the DataHub, this is probably the simplest thing I had to install on the boat. It only has two inputs. One is a power input,
It came with just a normal 12-volt cigarette cable adapter. According to the instructions, you cut this and you can wire it into your boat power supply. I wired mine just to my multifunction display circuit because the second input that's going into the DataHub is my Neiman 2000 cable. So it's just connected off of my Navionic backbone, or in my case, it's a Raymarine SeaTalk backbone. Let me tell you what the DataHub is doing. It's collecting all the data that's on my backbone. So that is my speed over ground. That is our direction or heading. That is our GPS location. Any data that's going to my multifunction display is going to the DataHub. And here's the magic. There are two advantages. One is the DataHub rebroadcasts that as a wireless network that's local. So that allows me, for example, to utilize my iPad and collect all the information that would normally be on my multifunction display can now be broadcast onto my iPad. I didn't know this when I bought the iPad, but it actually has increased its capabilities because I just have a standard everyday iPad. It's not one that came with cell service, and I didn't realize this, but there's no internal GPS unit to this. So iPad doesn't know where it is. I can't use maps, can't do an anchor alarm, can't do things like that as a standalone unit, especially if I'm remote. But I can when it's attached to the DataHub because I'm collecting GPS data off my boat service. So it really has increased my capabilities. Not only do I gain an untethered multifunction display with the iPad, which means I can wander around the boat. I don't have to be at the nav station or the helm in order to access things like pictures sitting in your V-berth and wanting to set an anchor alarm. I actually gain some redundancy. So should I have a multifunction display failure, I actually have a backup I can run on the iPad in order to be able to see where I'm going, collect all of that same data. So from a situational awareness standpoint, that really increases my capabilities. The second benefit, however, of the DataHub, it's a little more whiz-bang, but if you have a PredictWind subscription and you're on the DataHub, PredictWind will actually build you a web page, and the web page rebroadcasts all of that same information. So any of my friends and family, people who are onshore trying to monitor our progress, are able to not only see all the same data on my multifunction display, speed over ground, heading, GPS location. It also provides a picture of the weather real time on top of that as well. So it really goes another step in allowing someone else to monitor us and make sure that we are safe, provided that the DataHub has access to the internet. And here is the rub, because the DataHub has no problem connecting to the Starlink system. In fact, it's what's currently updating the web page that we're running, but that only works when I'm stopped. It won't work while I'm actually in motion. So I realize this is kind of a small thing, but it's part of an existing system. So the DataHub collects data incrementally every hour or so. It then will connect to the internet and update our location, and that's what the Iridium Go is supposed to do. But I can't get these two things to see one another. So the DataHub uses just a standard everyday web interface, and it allows us to, once logging in, search for available Wi-Fi networks. And when we do a scan for a Wi-Fi network, it will show that we've got an Iridium Go. So we'll hit join the network. It wants a password, which we already have saved there. Okay, once it's there, we can then hit save and apply. And it should show that the DataHub is connected to the internet. Instead, it will not recognize the Iridium Go. You can't get these two things to connect. It's just so frustrating. You know, if there were 12 wires and a voltmeter, or, you know, a power supply or some plumbing going to it, I would feel a little less helpless. But at this point, there's like nothing for me to do. Like, all I can do really is send messages back to PredictWind tech support. So let me say this. Those guys, they rock. They're great. I'm in the Bahamas. They're in New Zealand. They have been supporting me without a doubt. They're great about communication. They just haven't been able to solve it either. So we're sending things back and forth. We're going to kind of keep this thing going. I don't really, other than being frustrated, I don't really have a conclusion for you except to perhaps say this. I think what I need to do is kind of evaluate each of these as a tool on their own and a little less about them interacting together. So, you know, the Iridium does give us connectivity. It allows us to get data while we're at sea. or certainly away from any other network while we're in motion. A lot of peace of mind with that. The PredictWind is collecting data. Down the road it will update it, so perhaps I just don't get the cool web page, but I get all the functions on board. I just don't get the cumulative effect of these things talking together. When you spend this kind of money on technology on a boat, you really kind of expect things to kind of work. So, not really looking for blame, just telling you this is a really frustrating project, and I don't really know where to go from here. Guess we'll keep you updated. All right, we're just getting ready to leave Rock Sound. Lifting the anchor now. Gonna cross the Eleuthera bank, head for the Exumas. Well, how was Eleuthera?
I really liked it. It was different than I expected.
Yeah.
I don't know, there wasn't as much snorkeling and stuff, but the towns are really cool.
Yeah, definitely an island we could live on.
Yeah, you just can't anchor up in a lot of spots, but I liked all the little harbors.
How's your trip going?
Great, great. I like it. I'm just glad to be along for the ride.
Okay, we're about an hour out, or at least off anchor, and it looks like Egret and Parnive are right behind us. So, you know what they say, anytime there's two sailboats, it's a race. All right, we got one catamaran right in front of us. Can't speed up too much. We're in the Davis Channel, just entered the Davis Channel, and I'll give you an update on the other boys behind us. We can just see their sails. Still holding our own. Kind of the tail end of Eleuthera. All right, engine off, fishing line out. Anticipating a downwind run. Definitely got the swells. How are the swells? Smooth swell. Alright, well here's the race update. Actually, I don't have a very good race update. So, we messed around with our sails, got our pole out. They caught up, the first boat caught up to us. We turned the engine on to get on course, but we also wanted to charge the starter battery up. We're trying to determine why the starter battery is so low, so we're on the alternate fuel height. So, I guess we were cheating because we had the engine on. I don't know, they won't know until they see this episode, but we had the engine on for a while, but I'll show you where they are. Probably just make out their two sails. Oh, we didn't need to pull at all, as it turns out. We were just able to tack. So we took it down quickly and changed course. Through all that. Man, that was hairy. People just enjoying the sandbar over there.
But I won't let the stormy seas throw me in open water. Let me have my peace and leave me till tomorrow. Wind into my sail, away from things I let go, floating on the waves. We go bottoms up, we go all the way. When you're feeling down, push the pain away. We go bottoms